welcome back to my channel. So I'm gonna do a quick summer wrap up, but this is only gonna be for June and July. I debated on whether or not to put August in there, but there's still like 10 days of August left, and I didn't want to have to like wait to do this or cut August short, so I figured I would just do two separate videos. So you're gonna get one now and one in like a week for my wrap-ups. So this one is for June and July. It's all the stuff that I read while I was gone. One I read right before I left. So I did not read very much. I read 7 books in 2 months, which is extremely low for me, but I just was in a reading funk. I had a problem reading while I was traveling. We were doing so much traveling that I was having problems fitting in the reading as well. So I only read 7 books while I was gone. The first one that I read was Daughter of a Siren Queen. I actually listened to this right before I left. When I was prepping to leave, I wasn't able to read any books. I tried and I just couldn't get into anything. And so I ended up just listening instead, and that was the best way for me to get through that little bit of a slump while I was still getting ready to leave. So I read this one. It's the sequel to The Daughter of the Pirate King. I thought it was really cute. It's a duology. It wrapped everything up really nicely, and it was a really cute book. I really highly suggest the series. It's not like a hard-hitting or massive like siren story, but it was very cute. Next thing I read is The Assassin's Blade, which I adored. And it kind of got me back in the mood to, there's a bookmark in it. It got me back into the world of Throne of Glass, which I read at the beginning of the year and I absolutely adored. I still need to read Tower of Dawn, and Kingdom and Ash comes out in October. So I'm probably gonna read that right before it comes out. That way I can go from one to the next. But now I've read all the prequels, which makes me want to reread the entire series, but I was gone, so I didn't. I only got this one done. But I was very, very glad to have been able to finish this. And if you have not read Throne of Glass, if you are curious about Sarah J. Maas, I say go for it because I love them all. So the next book is the only one in this group that I don't have. I don't have quite a few of the books for August. But for these 2 months, the next book I read was Legendary. I listened to it on my plane rides from Washington until Germany is where I listened to most of it. I listened to some of it on the way to Washington also. So I listened to it over the course of like 2 weeks. It's the sequel to Caraval, and it just recently came out. I do not have it yet. I just have the audiobook for it because I think her name's Rachel Soler is the narrator, and if I'm wrong about that, I'll put her right name up. But she's the narrator for all of Stephanie Garber's books, as well as the books from the Cinder series. She narrates all those ones too. She's like my favorite my favorite narrator. So I basically will listen to anything that she narrates, regardless of who the author is. But she narrated that one as well as Caraval, and so I finished listening to Caraval in May, and I figured I would just move on to Legendary in June, and I listened to it in June while I was gone. So that was it for June. It was just those 3 books. Like I said, I was in a slump. It's hard for me to read while I'm on vacation, apparently, when it comes to something really big like Europe, because we were constantly on the move, didn't have a lot of time to just sit and relax. So I did not have a lot of reading time, but I had a lot of listening time. So the next 4 books that I read, I listened to 3 of them while we were traveling. We listened to the Magnus Chase, The Hammer of Thor, and this is the 2nd book in the Magnus Chase series. We still have 1 left to go, but we're really, really liking this one. We listened to this on the first leg of our trip while we were in the car. So this one Chris wasn't really invested in, so she didn't really listen to it. So she has no theories or anything about this. She basically just zoned out and slept through most of it. But the rest of us really enjoyed it. I am looking forward to continuing on with all of the Rick Riordan books. We are slowly making our way through them all. So the next two books that we listened to, which were the last two books that we listened to on our trip, were Scythe and Thunderhead. And these books, the whole family were really into, and we're kind of sad and depressed that we have to wait a year for the next one. So Scythe is a utopian where nobody dies. If it's by age, they actually get reset. So their time clock goes back and they reset to whatever age they want to. I think the earliest was 21 they can reset to at the moment. They're working on making it to 15, but anybody who's been through their teen years and is smart would never want to go back. Teens are terrible, so 20s would be fun. And if you die on accident, it doesn't make you dead, it makes you dead-ish, and you're able to be brought back, which I thought was extremely funny because the concept of dead-ish was just, it was funny. So I gave this one a 4. I liked it a lot, but it was not a 5 for me. It was a 5 for Chris. But on the flip side, I gave this a 5 because it was a 5 for me, and Chris gave it a 4. I thought it was hilarious that we both really enjoyed both books, but she definitely preferred one over the other. So from this one is about the Thunderhead. The Thunderhead is the AI or the cloud that has been revamped and made so that it can basically knows everything. It can like rule the world, but it's got a conscience and it's got a set of rules that it won't, you know, not do. If that makes sense. So it will never break the laws because it's very law abiding, but it is an artificial intelligence. And this book is completely written from their point of view, whereas this one is written from the Scythe's point of view. They're having a problem with overpopulation, and so in order to keep the population under control, they have Scythes that are, their only job is to kill a certain quota of people. They have different methods they go about it. One Scythe in the book thinks that she can see when someone's lived too long and takes them out. Somebody else will use statistics, and so if somebody between this age and this age dies of a car accident, and there's like a statistic for it, he'll kill based on that statistic. So if there's 3% of his kills will be this, or 5% of his kills will be that, based on those statistics of our world. Another one is really into mass killings and likes to kill people in a huge number. So there is definitely different methods behind them, and the big issue in this is it right to be able to have the power to do this? The idea of the utopia sounds amazing in theory, but as you read about it, I can understand how people can become stagnant and just not want to do it anymore. But they were really good books. Hopefully I'm not giving too much away. And then the last book that I actually read on my Kindle, though, not in physical form, was The Edge of Everything. I am currently reading number 2 right now that I got as an ARC from NetGalley. But I got that one and I forgot they had a first one, so I went through and I read the first one. Here's the issue I have with this book. It's amazing. I like it. It's really interesting. I have no idea what it's about. All I can tell you is that it's about a girl who lives in Montana, Michigan. I always get those mixed up and I don't know why. I can't remember. Does it say? Montana. So it's about a girl from Montana named Zoe. I was just reading it, so I want to make sure I was right though. Named Zoe, and a bounty hunter from hell. I don't really know how else to describe it. If anybody knows how to describe this book, let me know, because I don't know how to describe it. My friend keeps asking me what it's about, and I'm like, I don't know. It's a love story at the base. Base-wise, it's a love story. So if you do not like love stories, don't read it. If you like the kind of off-quirk love stories, but it's mostly about something else, but it's mostly about the character development, it's not a very plot-driven book. And besides the fact that it's about bounty hunters, I really can't tell you what it's about. And I'm 60% of the way through the second book, and I still can't tell you what it's about. I just tell you that I enjoyed it a lot. I gave it 4 stars. I did like it quite a bit. I just, not a clue what it's about. But that is all of my books. It's not a very big stack, much smaller than usual. But I definitely enjoyed everything that I read. I just was in a total slump and was not in the mood to read. Whereas I've been home for a week and I finished 2 physical books and I have another like 4 audiobooks under my belt. Must have gotten light outside because I just turned white. So I'm sorry about that. But yeah, so this is what I read while I was gone. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. Talk to you later. Bye.